Welcome back to the Lost Tactician, where history's forgotten skills become tomorrow's survival wisdom. Picture this: wooden structures standing resolute against centuries of rain, frost, and relentless biological assault. No synthetic chemicals, no pressure treatments, no modern preservatives, just wood, fire, and the profound knowledge of Indigenous Americans who understood something we're only beginning to rediscover. Imagine running your hand across timber that has weathered 300 winters, feeling its surface smooth and intact, while modern treated lumber beside it crumbles into rot after mere decades. What did they know that we've forgotten? Today, we're diving deep into the lost art of natural timber preservation, techniques so effective they challenge everything modern industry tells us about wood protection. When European colonizers first encountered indigenous structures across the Americas, they witnessed something that defied their understanding of material science. Longhouses in the Pacific Northwest stood with massive cedar posts that showed no signs of decay despite the region's punishing moisture. Totem poles rose skyward with intricate carvings preserved in perfect detail. Bridge elements crossed waterways, their wood dense and unyielding despite constant exposure to the elements. The secret wasn't magic, it was meticulous application of natural chemistry that modern science is only now beginning to fully appreciate. These preservation methods weren't uniform across all indigenous peoples. They varied by region, available resources, and specific environmental challenges. What united them was a deep understanding that wood could be transformed from vulnerable organic matter into something approaching permanence through careful treatment with compounds drawn directly from the forest itself. The foundation of indigenous timber preservation lay in specific natural compounds whose molecular structures created hostile environments for the organisms that destroy wood. Cedar oils, rich in thujaplicins, possessed powerful anti-fungal properties that penetrated deep into wood fibers. These weren't superficial treatments, they fundamentally altered the wood's chemical composition. Pine resins, when properly extracted and applied, created water-repellent barriers while simultaneously introducing compounds toxic to wood-boring insects and fungal spores. Perhaps most revolutionary were the tannin-rich extracts derived from specific bark sources. Modern laboratory testing has confirmed what indigenous peoples knew through generations of observation. Condensed tannins from pine bark and certain other species demonstrate remarkable antifungal resistance. These compounds work by binding to proteins in fungal cells, essentially poisoning any organism attempting to colonize the wood. When you consider that these same tannins naturally occur in heartwood, which indigenous builders specifically selected, you begin to understand the layered sophistication of their approach. The application methods were as crucial as the compounds themselves. Controlled charring, a technique bearing similarity to the Japanese shosugiban process, transformed wood's outer surface into carbon. This wasn't crude burning, but carefully managed exposure to flame that created a char layer resistant to moisture penetration, insect invasion, and microbial attack. The carbon acted as an armor, sacrificial yet permanent, that weathered away microscopic amounts each year, while the protected wood beneath remained intact. Hot oil treatments involved heating natural resins and oils to specific temperatures, determined through careful observation rather than thermometers, that allowed deep penetration into wood grain. Some groups employed smoke impregnation, suspending timber over controlled fires for extended periods, allowing volatile compounds from burning materials to saturate the wood fibers. Others utilized sequential layering, applying multiple treatments in specific orders that created synergistic protective effects greater than any single application. The most ingenious methods involved environmental manipulation. Certain woods were buried in specific soil types, whose mineral content and pH levels enhanced preservation. Others were stored in conditions ensuring constant dry airflow, preventing the moisture accumulation that enables fungal growth. Every technique reflected intimate knowledge of local ecosystems and wood properties accumulated through countless generations. So, why did these extraordinarily effective, sustainable practices vanish? Well, the answer lies in the brutal economics of industrialization and the cultural devastation of colonialism. The Industrial Revolution demanded speed and scale that just weren't compatible with traditional methods. Chemical pressure treatments using creosote and chromated copper arsenate could process thousands of board feet daily, transforming lesser quality, fast-growing timber into serviceable building material. Traditional methods, on the other hand, required time, skill, and specific knowledge that simply couldn't be easily standardized or mechanized. Colonialism's systematic devaluation of indigenous knowledge systems really accelerated this loss. Traditional building techniques were dismissed as primitive, and their practitioners were marginalized, or worse. Oral traditions were broken by forced relocations and cultural suppression, which meant techniques died with their practitioners. By the time modern environmental science recognized the toxicity of synthetic preservatives, many now banned for their devastating health and ecological impacts, generations of sustainable knowledge had already vanished. Today, researchers and sustainable builders are rediscovering these ancient techniques, validating through laboratory analysis what indigenous peoples proved through centuries of practice. The irony cuts deep. We abandon natural methods for synthetic chemicals we've now banned as too dangerous, leaving us scrambling to reconstruct knowledge that was freely available all along. The lesson extends beyond timber preservation. It really speaks to the cost of dismissing traditional knowledge and the urgent need to preserve and honor indigenous wisdom before more is lost forever. If this journey through forgotten craftsmanship resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe to The Lost Tactician. Share this with anyone who believes survival means learning from those who truly mastered their environment. History's greatest lessons often hide in plain sight, waiting for us to humble ourselves enough to learn. Until next time, stay tactical.